Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tata Steel 2023. It is the first major chess event of the year. It's split into the Master section and the Challenger section. If you'd like to follow along, the standings and all that good stuff, link is in the description. And if you're lucky enough to catch this video in the first few hours that it's coming out, there are only 4 hours left. 4 hours, that's it, to get any of my courses 50% off. 50, including the new Middle Games Masterclass. So pause what you're doing right now or let the video keep running. Just look at the description, click, just make sure you take care of that. If you watch 4 hours after it's out, I'm real sorry. Now, this round featured the meme that has shaken up the chess world over the last month. I'm not talking about Mittensbot, I'm talking about me screaming the rook. It seems like you guys really like when I scream that, and I will be screaming it twice in today's video. I think it got popular from that Magnus YouTube short or TikTok that I did when he sacrificed the rook. And well, in this game, we're actually going to see him sacrifice another one. So for this game, Magnus is playing Vincent Keimer, or as the Germans say, Vincent Keimer, c4, g6, and Magnus plays a Grunfeld. Now, the Grunfeld defense is one of the most confrontational openings in chess. Oh, and by the way, if you're still watching and you don't have the attention span of, you know, a koala, this entire video has really fun games from start to finish. Like, Magnus will go first, but you gotta stick around because at the end, Anish Giri played the greatest game of his life and he also sacrificed the rook. And the last game of this video is literally guess the elo. Like, I'm not exaggerating. So trust me, all right? But also make sure that while you're watching, you make sure you get the 50% off. So, knight f3. The reason why the Grunfeld is a very kind of risky choice and confrontational choice is that there are many lines that are what we call solved. White can actually force a lot of dead positions. So, you know, if Vincent really wants to draw Magnus and just not take any risk against him, there are ways to do that. So Magnus plays like this and is very solid in the center with c6. Now, excuse me. The bishop in the Grunfeld and this bishop in the Grunfeld do a nice job pressuring the center. Very rarely do you actually see c6 played. Like, it's far more common in the Grunfeld for black to just try to completely explode the center. So the move c6 is very much a unique choice. And we have bishop e2. Excuse me. A lot of bloopers today. And now b5 and rook e8 by Magnus. So, you know, from the early opening, I would say I like White's position a little bit more. I like that his center is nice. I like that he can go a4 and start to cause some problems. But Magnus is very quick to finish up his development just before Vincent has an opportunity to strike. And now Magnus plays this move c5. So this is like pure Grunfeld here. Black has absolutely no pawns in the center, but black fights for the center with the bishop, the queen, the c pawn is nice. It's not a center pawn, but it's a flank pawn. And the move d5 looks very nice, but actually after bishop g4, the thing about pawns is they don't go backwards. So now black has long-term pressure on the white position, and these pawns look nice, but that's just about it. Bishop d2, and now when this pawn arrives in the position, it's going to be a wrecking ball. Magnus likes to listen to Miley Cyrus. So c4 is another idea here, blunting this bishop and basically leaving this pawn permanently in my sight. That's another option, but Magnus decides to do it this way first, and now he plays c4. And yeah, he's doing very nice. This is a typical Magnesian game where you know, he's gonna be happily squeezing his opponent for a long time. In chess, you like to happily squeeze your opponents. In life, you might, you know, squeeze a partner, you know, in a loving way. Not in chess, you squeeze them to death, kind of like a snake. So there's some pressure here, and Magnus's structure is very nice. And, you know, Magnus just begins the operations. But you know, Keimer's not going anywhere. He wraps the knight around to d5, and position looks like he's making progress. Bishop g5. Now, bishop g5 has very much an idea to play the move knight e7. And you would expect that here Magnus would play rook a7, defending that. And then maybe Vincent would bring his rook or kick out the queen again. Nope. In this position, Magnus Carlsen took the pawn on e4 because he anticipated the move knight to e7 so that he could sacrifice the rook. And the idea of this move, that's an appetizer, by the way. There will be a much more emphatic rook sacrifice a little bit later. Magnus sacrifices his rook, but for it, he receives 2 pawns and a knight. So it's a rook sacrifice for a knight and 2 pawns, but these pawns are going to march. All right, they're going to walk down the board, and here they go. And I mean, Vincent is really struggling. He really just cannot do a whole lot. He's trying to fight back. He uses his H-pawn. Magnus is like, yeah, no problem. Free pawn. I'm up 4 pawns, bro. 3, apologies. Take. Queen E8 check. Black is safe. Now the players make the 40th move of the game, and Magnus plays B3. He also could have played rook d2, rook a2. I mean, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is probably the rook will sacrifice for the bishop, and we will get an endgame where you have rooks and pawns. Now, if you look all the way into the future, the most insane thing about chess is that black can have those 2 pawns remaining. Let me highlight them in, damn it, in blue? There we go. F and H versus nothing is a draw. How heartbreaking is that? You win 2 pawns from a guy, and you still can't beat him. Which is why Magnus needs to keep enough pawns on the board that he has an opportunity to win this in the long run. He's up 2 pawns, but this versus this is not winning. The H-pawns are doubled. That A-pawn is a massive asset, which is why Magnus walks the king all the way over to that side, because he's going to help escort that pawn. Now that the white king has sort of tried to be active, Magnus is poking and prodding and poking and prodding and actually wins the pawn. Like, Vincent maybe didn't have to go g3, but he was slowly running out of moves. But I mean, he actually did a pretty nice job, but he just pushed this pawn to die. Maybe Vincent thought that in this position he was going to go g4, but that doesn't quite work. I mean, like, again, it's never too late to mess something up, but I actually just think very simply, A and H is probably not defendable. They're way too far apart. So king e3 played, and it's F and H, but it's FHH. So he has too many pawns. And the H-pawn goes rook g2 check. And Magnus sacrifices the rook in an appetizer format, wins a very nice game. Very nice game from Magnus, who gets us going here with the early win. Win with black. That's a big win. Winning with black at that level is very, very tough. Now, remember Ding the Buzzsaw Liren, who just obliterated last round? He plays e4. Now, this stat is completely useless to most of you. Ding Liren spent about 90% of his career playing the Catalan. Or, if he didn't play the Catalan, he just played the Queen's Gambit with knight f3, knight c3, instead of knight f3, and then pawn to g3. Ding Liren playing e4 and entering the Spanish is not unheard of, but in classical chess is extremely rare, which means he's probably preparing these variations for the World Championship match, which means we're about to get a much more complete Ding Liren from the opening standpoint, which means Ding Liren is elevating his game, which means that Ding Liren has a lot of weapons he's never used. He's probably going to be in really tip-top shape. Now, from this early game, we got an insane position, okay? We got my boy Parham here playing rook b8, rook a8. If one of you played like that, I'd smack you, but he's allowed to do it. Knight g5, and Ding plays knight takes f7, which, under normal circumstances, is stupid. You should not be giving away 2 pieces for a rook and a pawn. That's not good. It's just not a good decision. But the idea that Ding has, okay, is that he will take here first, trade, but wait a minute. This is still under fire. He's going to get to the king. Look at this position. This is nuts. Now, at some point, he will go here, trade everything. Who's better in this endgame? It's a rook and 2 pawns for 2 bishops. Now, normally, the 2 bishops are very good, but black can't really use the bishops right now. E5, and look at this position. This is actually kind of nuts. Black normally gets an advantage with 2 bishops against the rook, but Ding... He's not letting those rooks go anywhere. He's going to keep his rooks together for a very long time. King g3, king h4, rook e6. Ding is playing a surgical game. Rook a6. Parham tries to create counterplay by sacrificing a pawn, bishop f7. And now Ding plays rook takes f7. A second sacrifice of a rook. Now this one's mild because it was sort of forced. But we get an endgame where Ding Liren has 5-to-1 pawns. Now, from an elementary standpoint, you just go here, and you make a queen. A bishop cannot stop 3 pawns, but a rook and a bishop together might be able to. Ding now goes on a 4-to-1 pawn endgame. This is a 4-to-0 pawn endgame. This is nuts. I've never seen something like this. So it would be a complete miracle if Parham managed to hold this. Ding may have to part ways with his A-pawn. He chooses to do so. The pawn falls. I think somewhere here the computer was showing rook a7, and if bishop takes, you pin yourself. If rook takes, the computer thinks that this endgame might be winning, but then it starts reconsidering. So rook d7, king g6, and somewhere here, there was essentially one winning idea. I was sitting in a restaurant and I saw this position, and the computer was trying to say king f5, rook c5, and something like king to g4, leaving the pawns and then pushing them. You see the engine is building up to plus 2.6 now. It's finding different ways to win. It thinks that h6. This is what the engine wanted. Ding didn't do that. He kept his king active and blocked it, and then he stepped back later. And I think the engine basically was saying, instead of pushing the g-pawn in like this position, Ding needed to push the h-pawn first. So basically, if we got here and Ding went with the h-pawn before he went with the g-pawn, he had much greater winning chances. Chess is such a scumbag game. Like, how do you... What? So Ding pushed his g-pawn first and, you know, was blockaded on the dark squares, essentially. Like, Ding tried to kick the king out and then brought his king in again, but now it's a fortress. Black just prevents the other pawns from moving forward, and it's a draw. I mean, it's nuts. So Ding almost starts the tournament 2-0. He gets held so closely in this game, not like physically, but Parham looks like he gives good hugs. And Ding is only 1.5 out of 2. I've got our eyes on Ding because he's playing very well. I mean, very, very well here to start the event. Now, I got some fun games. All right, Eline Reubers. All right, she made it into 2 recaps. She's playing against Erwin, not El Ami, not like, you know, Erwin takes an L. That's not how that works. Chess.com does not let me put an apostrophe in his name. I've reported this as a bug already, but you know, it's the bug where an apostrophe is like a bunch of random symbols. So Erwin is not an L, but his name is Lami. Anyway, a Spanish, and she's, I believe, the champion of the Netherlands right now, and she's 17 years old. So, knight f1, this is called a Breyer variation. You don't need to know that. It's not going to be at the trivia night at your local bar. King h8, and now g4. Eline loves to attack, okay? She's like basically the modern Judith Polgar. No, I mean, that's high praise. Not yet. But queen f3, g5. I mean, she loves attacking. Knight g3, h4, h5. I mean, look at this. She plays the way all of us think we are able to play. She plays like she's playing blitz. Look at this move. You know what she played in this position? Inspired by AlphaZero. Queen to h1! What a move! Literally, AlphaZero played that against Stockfish. And then f4! She has the entire squad pulling up. She basically got into a fight at school, but everyone is on her side. So like 30 people pull up to this fight. Don't actually do that. You could get arrested for inciting gang violence. Very dangerous stuff. I was once in middle and high school, and that almost happened. I was not involved, luckily. Queen h3, queen f3. It's better to talk things out. Physical violence is not good. Unless it's absolutely necessary. Bishop d4 check. f6, queen f4. She just will not stop. Rook to e3, looking to attack the queen. Knight e5, knight f5, knight e7, takes, and whoa, this move was so hype. Bishop takes e5. If you take the queen, I take this with check. You take, and I promote, and it's mate. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Oh my goodness. g5, bishop e5, takes, king g8, and Eline emerges up the house. She is up everything. She has 1 extra pawn, an extra bishop, an extra knight, and 2 rooks. I added 3. And 2 rooks. And what does she do? Slides the king, brings the rook, and the game ends as she marches down the center of the board and just simply blocks the check. Boop, boop, boop. I told you that this round was hype. She just, I mean, there's nothing I can even recap. They played a Breyer, then she played g4, like this, and then she played queen to h1, bro. What the and then she went here? I mean, are you kidding me? And then she went here, Are you kidding me? Bishop takes e5. Oh my god. Oh my god, she won everything. She won all his pieces. What a game. She's 23-60? She just beat a 26-30. I don't think she's got any plans of stopping. Oh my goodness. This was an unbelievable game of chess from her. Like, what? This was, what? Oh my gosh. Oh my god, I don't even know what to say. How do you even top that off? Oh, like this. You top it off with 2 more hype games. Anish Giri woke up today in the very rainy and very boring and very dull and otherwise completely uninspiring town of Wijk aan Zee, Netherlands. And he said, I'm going to channel my inner Mikhail Tal, who is one of the most creative attacking players that ever lived. And Gukesh, so one thing you got to know about these tournaments, in the first few rounds, you really know who's in form and who's not. And after seeing yesterday's defeat, probably Anish was like, maybe I can get a win against Gukesh. You know, he lost to Ding yesterday. We'll see if he's ready to be with us big boys. So we have a normal position from the opening. Just your typical, you know, isolated pawn position. You know, Anish plays rook c2, brings the rook to e2, queen c2. You know, nice and easy, nice and easy. Black needs to develop. And then in this position, Anish plays a move that clearly looks like some sort of prep. Black can win this pawn, but I think there's some diabolical idea behind it for white, like queen c3, and it's just very aggressive and probably doesn't look very pleasant. So, you know, Gukesh plays king to h8. Now, the move king to h8 on the surface is extremely logical. It gets the bishop off of this diagonal, the king rather, off the diagonal of the bishop, and, you know, then you're going to play knight d7, knight f6, and finish your development, and life is going to be good. But life is not going to be good! Do you know why? Because Anish Giri in this position sacrifices, not the rook, not yet, he plays knight to g5. What? The heck is that? He just loses the knight. What did he think? He was threatening mate? Anish Giri now sacrificed the rook! Rook takes e6! Oh my goodness! Rook e6 is a dynamite strike. He just sacrificed 8 points of material for 1. For 1. For 2. Rook e6. What is the idea? The idea is that the queen no longer defends g5. And when it goes here, I play knight g5, and it's over. When I say it's over, I mean it's over. Queen h7 is unstoppable. Knight to g5, rook takes e6. Dear Lord, I wish Anish Giri got up from the board and took a bow. Would have been really weird, because, like, there's no commentary, so it would have just looked extremely narcissistic, but he should have done it anyway. It's over. The only thing that black can do now is sacrifice his queen and try to very quickly trade off all the pieces and not get mated. The problem? Anish Giri has 2 kids. He knows 1 or 2 things about mating. Queen f5. So he's looking for queen h3. Black goes here, giving up the bishop, because bishop h7. Takes, and Anish plays queen f3, threatening mate again. Check, check. And the very cool, calm, and collected bishop to c2, preventing a mate. Queen h8 is on the way, and Gukesh resigned. Oh my god. Oh my god, I don't know who disturbed Anish Giri last night. I don't know who caused him a bad night of sleep, but he woke up on January 15th, 2023. Maybe it was the tax deadline. Maybe he was just mad he had to pay taxes or something. Is the tax deadline in the Netherlands January 15th? It's coming up in the US here. Anyway, he woke up, and dear Lord, he chose violence. And Gukesh is currently 0 for 2. It is very tough to go 0 for 2 at this top event. It's your first super tournament. So I am cheering for Gukesh to bounce back. But I mean, you got guys playing like this. Like, what are you going to do? Anish Giri, I don't remember the last time he played a game like this. Anish is a positional grinder. All right? He is great with prep. And he likes a nice, kind of smooth sailing game. This dude sacrificed the house. And that brings me to my last game in this video, folks, because this was a very fun recap. This game was nuts. Okay? Nuts. This is what I call Super GM Guess the Elo. Jurgis was just involved in the game against Max Warmerdam, where Warmerdam just popped off. All right, Max just went nuts, ballistic. Then Max showed up to my Twitch stream later that night and told me that my hairline is receding. So Max was in a feisty mood yesterday. He checkmated he checkmated Jurgis. Then he chose violence in the Twitch chat. I mean, this dude was popping off. It was nuts. So Jurgis shows up and plays the King's Gambit. Bro, you got all these dudes in the master section playing the Ragozin and the Catalan and the Grunfeld and the Spanish. The challenger section is a circus, and I mean that in the most positive way. It is nuts. And when I tell you it is nuts, knight f6, e5, knight h5, this is all prep. Okay, I've seen this all before. In this position, I have played bishop e2, but there's a very tricky move, queen e2. The idea of queen to e2 is to set up a threat on the king. Now, black against me sometimes goes d5, sometimes takes. This is not a fork because of queen e7. Queen e2. Amin Tabatabai, I joke you not, played bishop e7 and lost the game on move 6. You are telling me that a 2700 rated player hung a piece on move 6. Shout out 16-16-60. Yes, pawn takes. Whatever takes back. Queen. Oh my god! A 2700 FIDE rated player hung a piece on move 6. What? 2700. What? 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 Knight takes d4. Folks, this game is all but over. It's not. This game went another 36 moves. This game had so many twists and turns. Bishop d3 and all of the advantage is nearly gone. All white had to do here, not all white had to do, but was take, knight c3, castles, bishop d2, long castle. That is all that was required from Jurgis. Easier said than done. Okay, still a little bit dangerous, but it's okay. He goes here, and I am not joking when I say a few moves later, he has nearly no advantage. Queen to e6, played in the game. White has to start blocking the king. White now can no longer castle. But I saw right around here and I was like, okay, 4 pawns versus 6. Okay, so black is not totally lost. And now, you know, he's trying to kick the queen out, right? Makes sense, but I mean, well, I mean Tabatabai needs to avoid massive exchanges. So if you trade too many pieces in this position, it's very easy to win with white. Why is it easy to win with white? Because white's knight is felt, black's pawns are not felt. Where are black's extra pawns? Desperately standing in front of the king. They cannot move because the king will be weakened. The knight is felt, right? So that's what you have to consider when you talk about material. Bishop f6, which is why black is trying to do everything in his power, even at the cost of a pawn, to not trade pieces. And I saw this game right around here and I was like, wait a minute, how is black better? Well, if you buy the Middle Games Masterclass available right now for 50% off, you would know that Chapter 1 is evaluating positions. And the two most important ways to evaluate a position are material and king safety. White is winning in material, but white's king is standing in the center of the board, and he's got barely any underwear on. Like, it's very suspicious underwear. Like, this dude is about to get chased around. Like, all of black's pieces are staring at the king's, like, you know, area over here. Bishop e3, and we have queen to e1, king e1, rook d6. What just happened? Rook h3. Why did all that material fly off the board? Like, why did white not just move his queen? Because if white, let's say, goes queen to b4, the queen is kind of trapped. You even have moves like a5 to deflect the queen, and then rook takes e2 and queen takes f4. Somehow, because white's king is so weak, he's never actually able to safeguard his pieces. Amin is winning. Amin did not get tilted, did not get frustrated, probably sat there going, oh my god, I am so, what did I do? And then he just played a few moves and white must have just relaxed. I think Jurgis was basically just like, well, I can't lose this game. Well, he was right. I mean, you can't lose this game. You got 3 pieces in an endgame. Except he lost this game immediately with rook takes d5. He just resigned. What? He just resigned. Why did he resign? Well, probably it was tilt. Probably he just didn't want to play this endgame. But the point is that this pawn is a problem, and in the time that you spend going to win it, I will go king d4, let's say, and then I will play king here, and I will just push my f pawn. So just f4, bishop d1, king e3, and that's it. You win my pawn, congrats, but I have f3, and I mean, I'm winning. It's insane. Folks, for like a move, it was just plus 2.5. I mean, it was just, okay, plus, you know, whatever, plus 2. But I mean, white literally just needed to trade a few pieces. I'm not saying I would have won this game. That's not what I'm saying. When I analyze these folks' games, that's not what I'm saying at all. But when I saw this, I was just like, oh my god, what? He blundered pawn takes and queen b5 check. But he had the nerves and the resolve to stay in the game. And he just kept applying pressure. And at some point, he probably was like, wait a minute, am I like not even gonna lose? And then at some point, he was like, wait a minute, am I going to win? And the answer to that question is yes. Yes, Grandmaster Amin Tabatabai. Yes, you will win, brother. Rook takes d5. Take a bow, damn it. Oh my god, he just won down a piece. We have 3 rook sacrifices in this video. Okay? We have a man winning down a piece, and we have a 2360 IM beating a 2630 GM with one of the most incredible attacking games I've ever seen. Tata Steel is only 2 rounds in. It is a 13-round tournament. Are you not entertained? I hope you enjoyed the recap. I'll see you in the next one. Get out of here. Go get that 50% off deal. Seriously. You don't even have to buy anything. All of my courses have free samples, like 2 hours of content in each one. Just click that link in the description. Video's over anyway. What are you going to do? Go back to watching your usual YouTube stuff? What, Ludwig? What do you watch on YouTube that's not me? Who do you like watching the most that's not Gotham? Let me know in the comments. That's how I know how many people watch till the end. And let me know what you had for lunch today. I'll see you tomorrow. Get out of here.